Hi and welcome to today's video where I'm going to talk to you about last minute pre-registration exam tips. It's not just going to be about revision, it's also going to be about like technical tips as well. So stick it out. I want to dedicate this video to Naheem and Steve, who I used to work with back up north of England. Yeah, they have, well, Naheem's been supporting my videos. Steve, I'm not sure you've been watching them, so hopefully you can subscribe to me and carry on watching. I miss you guys so much. So I was having dinner last night with my friend who we both studied pharmacy, and we were just like, oh, wait, there's 1 week left till the pre-reg exam this year. And then we just kind of came up with tips that we would have liked to have known. So I'm just going to go through those now. The first thing I want to say is do not panic and just keep studying. I was on YouTube looking at videos and nobody said this. Everyone was like, you know, before the exam, you should be calm right now. You should, some people even said they didn't even revise the night before the exam because they were like that calm about it. But as like a last minute crammer, that was not good to hear. So what I just want to say is I crammed right before the exam and I still passed. Just take it easy, chill out, relax. You know way more than you think. Don't study new stuff before the exam, like the day before the exam. So don't like look at new content that you've never looked at before if it's gonna panic you. I think I did something like vaccines a few days before, but obviously I don't recommend that. Just if you're gonna look at something and think, shit, I have no idea what this is, then it's probably not a good idea to cover it because it might just go the opposite way and throw you off. I mean, I guess if you do study it, you might, you know, and you can keep calm, then yeah, you might like gain that 1 more point, but it's not worth it if you're gonna freak out. Don't eat anything too crazy before the exam and between the exams. Just have like a nice, like a sandwich, sort of not a prawn sandwich, but you know, just like bread and butter, something that is regular to you where you can't really go wrong with it. Your stomach's not going to be turned inside out. And also don't drink too much water because yeah, you need to keep hydrated for the exam, but if you're like me and you're just going to need the toilet like every 2 seconds, you don't have time to do that in the exam, so don't drink too much water. Okay, in the exam, if you come across something that you just have no idea about, for example, the maths question, you just try it and it's not working, move on. Like you can come back to it at the end, but just move on. Don't spend ages trying to get to an answer when you're not quite sure how to do it. For me, those questions were like the molar questions, molar, like the M questions, and it just, I mean, the concept just wasn't going to work for me, so I wasn't going to get it right. So I just kind of just moved past those. And then obviously when you've gone through the whole paper, you can come back to it. In terms of MCQs, if you don't know it, then just put a massive star and then circle the one you think at the time that it's likely to be, and then come back to it at the end. And then if you don't have time, then you can still just look at what you've circled and just put that as your answer. But I just think it's really important to get through the paper first. So that is, I think, the best thing to do. That should be your aim, get through the paper. And then when you're a little bit more relaxed and you've gotten through it, then you can target the ones that you're not really sure about. I actually booked a hotel near to the exam venue because it wasn't quite close to my home. I mean, it was the driving distance, but then I didn't want to drive myself, and I also didn't want my mum to drive and then there'd be traffic and then me just be sat in the car freaking out. So if you think that that's going to calm you down, I actually say that that's a good investment so that you arrive the night before. That's what I did. And then in my hotel room, I just, you know, got to the desk and did some work and then went to sleep and got up the next day. I also remember making sure that my mum called me at a certain time to make sure that I was awake for the exam, like just in case I slept through an alarm. I've never done that before, but you know, you get paranoid. Check that your calculators are compatible. Please check. You've still got a week to do that, so check. And also, I don't know if this is just me, but I had 2. So like, you know, just in case one goes off, they can't do anything about it, the exam people. So I would recommend having 2 just for your peace of mind. And then afterwards you can sell them to other pre-regs. Look at your maths units. Don't get confused. Like you might find the answer in milligrams, but then they've asked for it in grams. Just make sure you double check the units. And also, if the answer doesn't make sense, it's going to be wrong. If you're saying like you're going to give 1,000 capsules to somebody and that's the amount of the total quantity you're going to supply. It's going to be wrong. If you're writing somebody needs, you know, 5,000 units of insulin, that's wrong. So really just think, does this make sense? And also think about how it's going to be given. So, you know, you're not going to be able to give half a pen, like a half an insulin pen to someone. You're going to have to give the full thing. So when they say how many pens, don't do something daft like 1.5, because that's just not realistic. Don't waste time counting your marks and thinking, how many marks have I got through this exam? How many marks have I got in this exam? I don't think that that's productive. I think what you should be doing is really just looking at the answers that you're not quite sure about and trying to work on those, as opposed to flicking through the whole paper and being like, okay, I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3. It's just a waste of time, in my opinion. Oh my God, this is one that my friend told me and it's so true. The Gphc will try and trick you with wording. Remember, look at the wording. They'll throw stuff in like every other day as opposed to every day, and per dose and per day. Like, really look at what the question is, because they will trick you and you'll put something else down and you'll get it wrong. So be aware of that. The exam venue can be cold, so I suggest taking like a sweater or a cardigan that you actually can take off. There's nothing worse than either being way too hot in the exam or way too cold, because you're already, like, I was already anxious, I'm already cold already, and so just to deal with that on top of just all of my mental stuff going on, being like, shit, I'm gonna fail, oh my God, what's gonna happen, all this stuff, you don't want to deal with that. So make sure your body is like temperature controlled. Remember your brand specifics. So I think there's a document on Google which is just like a list of drugs that really should be prescribed by brand, which is obviously like theophylline and your epilepsy drugs. So make sure that you know those. Here's a little bit of a wildcard tip. Alendronic acid can cause osteonecrosis of the jaw and something to do with the ear canal as well. And so if alendronic acid comes in an OTC question, I remember being really, really annoyed in a mock because I just sold an OTC item, but the answer was that I should have referred them to the GP when they had an earache, because that could have been due to the alendronic acid. I mean, what the hell? Like, I would never have guessed that, but that was something that was just so traumatizing to me that I've remembered it to this day. So if you see alendronic acid in an OTC question, make sure you're looking out for earache and sort of tooth and jaw ache. And you're almost at the finish line. You've done a year's worth of work in a community pharmacy or hospital pharmacy. You know so much more than you give yourself credit for. And some of the questions are really just daft. Like, you will know the answers to them. So just take it easy, relax. I know that's a bit of a stupid thing to say, because I know I wasn't relaxed. But just have that reassurance, like, you know what? I will know more than I think, and just go out there and ace it. So I hope these last minute pre-reg exam tips have helped, and if you've got any more, then please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.